Iran remains a mysterious country for most travelers, since Western media portray it as an unsafe place to travel, which is not true by my opinion.
My mom and I had 10 days trip on our own, visiting the major tourist attractions, traveling everywhere by taxi, including long-distance destinations, which is not expensive in Iran. We spent $1,000 in total for two, excluding international tickets to Iran. In this video, I would like to give you the brief ideas of the places to visit during the entire trip. For more details, you can refer to my previous videos from the playlist of
हमसे जुड़े जो ब्रो उसका ही स्वैग हो छोटी सी एक स्टोरी पे जग सारा टैग हो जो कोई नहीं देता वो सारा फन यहाँ मिलता है एक्साइटमेंट का कोई पल एक सेकंड भी नहीं
In the description below. Golistan Palace is located in front of Grand Bazaar and is one of the oldest historical monuments in the city of Tehran, with a World Heritage status. It's a royal residence dating back 400 years, characterized by a fusion between Persian architecture, the adaptation of European construction technologies, and the use of cast iron. Nasser al-Din Shah, seeing the museums of the Western countries, decided to build a similar museum in this royal palace. In this regard, some of the older buildings of the palace were destroyed, and the Salam Hall or Coronation Hall was built. Thus, the first museum of Iran was formed in the hall, which was used to exhibit Iranian and European paintings, alongside gifts presented to Iranian court by European kings, including Napoleon Bonaparte, Nicholas I of Russia, Wilhelm II, Queen Victoria, and Alexander III of Russia. Arriving to the gate of Mount Tachal, you can take a minibus or to walk for 30 minutes, which is about 2 kilometers, up to the Station 1 of the gondola lift, known locally as Tachal Telecabin. It's one of the world's longest gondola lift lines, with a length of 7,500 meters. It starts at Valinyak Valley at the altitude of 1,900 meters and ends at the last station at the altitude of 3,740 meters, near the main ridge of Mount Tachal. Saadabad is a cultural and historical complex that covers an area of 300 hectares and is located across the foothills of Mount Tachal. The complex was constructed in the 19th century and it was used as a summer royal residence. After Islamic Revolution, the complex became a museum. Today, the official residence of the President of Iran is located adjacent to the complex. The complex includes 18 buildings. 10 of them are open for the public, and 4 of the buildings are at disposal of Presidency Organization. The former US Embassy, or Den of Espionage Museum, is one of the weirdest attractions in the city. It was an American diplomatic mission in the Imperial State of Iran. Direct bilateral diplomatic relations between the two governments was severed following the Iranian Revolution in 1979 and the subsequent seizure of the embassy in November same year. Tabit Bridge, or the Nature Bridge in Persian language, is the largest pedestrian overpass in Iran. It connects two public parks by spanning Madaras Expressway, one of the main highways in northern Tehran. Built on three large pillars, the 270 meters curved structure has broad entrances, multiple pathways, and 3 floors of restaurants, cafes, and sitting areas. Azadi Tower is one of the landmarks of Tehran. The tower is 45 meters tall and is completely clad in cut marble. It was commissioned by Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the last Shah of Iran, to mark 2,500 years celebration of Persian Empire. Kashan is a charming medieval city located 270 kilometers from Tehran. Hotel provided us a taxi for $30 for the whole trip, with a stop for an hour at Finn Garden on the way to our hotel. Finn Garden was built in the 16th century. It's the oldest extant garden in Iran and the UNESCO World Heritage Site. The garden was created with the traditional principle of 4 gardens. Layout dates back to the time of Cyrus the Great, where a square garden is divided into 4 parts by waterways. For the place for a night in Kashan, I would recommend to stay at traditional Hotel Nigin. It's clean, bright, with a nice courtyard and pretty chill-out places. The rooms are designed in the traditional Persian style for a decent price of $30 per night. Breakfast is included in the price and served in the beautiful Middle Eastern restaurant with a big metal teapot on the buffet table. Wandering around narrow back streets in Kashan brings many surprises and picture-perfect scenes. Here you can find gorgeous mosques as well as hidden ruins of the old town. I keep saying in my Iranian videos that Iranian people are very friendly. This local guy passing by on the motorbike stopped by to show us the most interesting places of the ruins. Aga Bazok Mosque is a historical mosque in Kashan, built in 18th century. It features 3 levels and its own courtyard, and constructed for praise, preaching and teaching sessions. Sarai Miriha is a nice stop to escape the day heat and to have few cold drinks at a historical house built for Kashan governor during Zen dynasty. Sultan Amir Ahmad Bath House is a traditional Iranian public hammam, constructed in the 16th century during Safavid era. It has an area around 1,000 square meters and consists of 2 main parts, the dressing hall and hot bathing hall. In ancient Persia, bathhouses were built in the basement in order to save the energy and maintain the heat. The roof of the bathhouse is made of multiple domes that contains convex glasses to provide the sufficient light to the bathhouse while concealing it from outside. Kashan traditional houses is perhaps one of the most apparent reasons Kashan gained fame for tourists and travelers. Boroujerdi House is the historical house museum in Kashan. It was built in the 19th century for the bride of Boroujerdi, who was set a condition for the marriage to build the house as beautiful as the one of the father of his fiancée. Tabitabai House was built few years later and belonged to the family of Tabitabai, whose Boroujerdi fiancée came from. The next road trip of 270 kilometers is from Kashan to Isfahan, visiting traditional village on the way, with a taxi cost of $30 for the whole trip. The village of Abyaneh was built on the foothills of Karkas Mountain, located 2,300 meters above sea level. The village is oriented in north-south direction to get enough sun during harsh winters.
The word Abyaneh was derived from the word Viona, meaning on the local dialect the willow grove. Most residents speak Middle Persian, an early version of Farsi, that largely disappeared some centuries ago. The population of Abyaneh is about 300 individuals and 150 households, consisting of mostly old people. Abyaneh village has a history that spans over 2,500 years, dating back to the ancient Persians, that makes it one of the most ancient human habitats in Iran. Nakshe Jahan Square is the central place in Isfahan, where a guest can take a horse-drawn carriage or electric car for the driving tour around the square. It's translated from Persian as Image of the World Square. It's one of the largest city squares in the world and UNESCO World Heritage Site. Constructed in 17th century, it's surrounded by buildings from Safavid era. Shah Mosque is situated on the southern side and is regarded one of the masterpieces of Persian architecture in the Islamic era. Its splendor is mainly due to the beauty of its 7-color mosaic tiles and calligraphic inscriptions.
मेरे स्क्वाड से मिलो। मेन कैरेक्टर आसिम की लाइफ एक फिल्म है और दोस्त उसमें अनपेड एक्स्ट्रास। हीरो वाली लुक्स सेम वही स्वैग। ये फूडी मेरा जिगर है। इसके ख्याल में दुनिया बस कुछ अच्छा खाने के लिए बनी है। हिबा ओजी गर्ल बॉस है। ये आगे आगे चलती है और इसके आगे किसी की नहीं चलती। सारा फुल ड्रामा क्वीन है। इसने नखरों की PhD की है, पर जब हंसती है तो लगता है सब सेट है। जो भी हो, मैं तो हर बार इन्हीं से कोक शेयर करूंगा। Who in your squad will you share a coke with?
वकाब कंहिंखे ख़बरचार न आहे ओचितो तो सैलाब आयो न बसि टोटल माण्हू हितां निकिरण जी कयूं टोटल वञी बंदि ते वेठा ई सॼो ॻोठ कंहिं बि ॿुधायो न आहे त सैलाब थो अचे राणो गुजर ऐं ज़िलो आबदीन उहो पहिरीं असीं हिते वेठल हुआसीं जॾहिं सैलाब आयो ॻोठ ॿोठ जेको ॿुॾी वियो पोइ असीं वञी ॿाहिरि बंध ते वेठासीं हितां निकिरी वञी बंध ते वेठासीं उहा का बि कंहिंखे ख़बरचार न आहे ओचितो सैलाब आयो न बसि टोटल माण्हू हितां निकिरण जी कयूं टोटल वञी बंध ते वेठासीं सॼो ॻोठ कंहिं बि ॿुधायो न आहे त सैलाब थो अचे बीमारू बिल्कुलु तयारु हो ओचितो पोइ हिन हिसाब किताब सां थोरो झटको थी वियो पेट बि सुॼी वियो थोरो अबरो सबरो पहिरीं बुखार हो वरी तयारु थी वियो पोइ वरी हिन विसरियो कराची हिकिड़ी अञा हुते कराची वरी राति जो फोन आई त हिनजो झटको थियो पेट सुॼी वियो पोइ हिते डॉक्टरनि जवाबु ॾिनो चयूं हैंड्रस में खणी हैंड्रस वारनि नलकियूं वलकियूं चाढ़ियूं हेॾां होॾां सभु कयूं हेॾां होॾां पेट त हल्को थी वियो पर गुज़ारे हुते राति जो उहो लिखायो न कुझु बि न कंहिंखे बि न लिखायो अथई असांखे त उहा ख़बर ई न अथई लिखाइणो पवे थो या नथो लिखाइणो खपे हुकूमत वटि रजिस्टर कराइणो थो पए या नथो पए उहा असांखे ख़बरचार न हुई हिन हिसाब सां असां लिखायो न किथे हीअ आहे मुंहिंजो पुटु आशिक अली मां फोटू कढी रखियो हेॾां यादगिरी लाइ हेॾां यादगिरी जे करे असां हीअ फोटू वोटू ठाहे असां रखियो आहे मोबाइल में कढियो असीं पोइ साफ़ कराए असां रखियो आहे सो इन हिसाब सां असांखे हेॾां होॾां असांखे प्यारो पा
असांखे कंहिं कोन ॿुधायो मर्दनि खे कंहिंखे ॿुधायो हुजे त भले असां मायुनि खे कोन्हे ख़बर इन में वेठा यादा खे हथ रखियो हला सवाई कंदो जीअं बरसाति ॾिनई हीअ लाइन ॾिनी अम्मा हुनमें इहे जेका हुई न त पेर सड़ंदा कि खाली पेर सड़ंदा पिया पाणी जंहिंखे त वरियो ऐं जीअं त वरियो पिया सड़ंदा पोइ सड़ा पेर मां ख़ुशी ई कोन इहो सभु मदीननि में वेही पोइ उते खटे छॾनि दुनिया खे देखियो इहो असांजे हाणे छा आहे कुझु न आहे
On the day she died, I stood by her side. She was losing consciousness. I called for my husband, but the nurse pulled me away.
Haji, once healthy and now struggles to eat unassisted.
For the places to eat, I would recommend the beautiful traditional restaurant Bastani, conveniently located next to Shah Mosque and offering a broad menu of the authentic Iranian dishes. Ali Kapur Palace is the imperial palace which served as an official residence of Persian emperors of Safavid dynasty. The name Ali Kapur from Persian means imperial or great gate, and it was given to the palace and it was right at the entrance to the Safavid palaces, which stretched from Nakshi-Jahan Square to the Boudoir. For the places to stay in Isfahan, I can suggest Isfahan Traditional Hotel with beautiful courtyard and cozy rooms for €30 per night, including buffet breakfast at nicely decorated traditional style restaurant. Sheikh Latvala Mosque was the first to be built in Nakshi-Jahan Square. The purpose of this mosque was to be private for the royal court, so it doesn't have any minarets and designed with a tunnel built spanning the piazza from Ali Kapur Palace to the mosque, to avoid for the ladies from the harem having to walk across the square. Grand Bazaar lies around Nakshi-Jahan Square and has almost 5 kilometers of shopping streets with many arches and corridors, as well as caravansarais with inner courtyards, where caravans with loaded camels and donkeys could stop, unload and rest. one of must do in Iran is to visit desert. Varzaheh Desert is located 130 kilometers from Isfahan, and the round trip costed $25 by taxi provided by our hotel. On the site we paid $22 more for an hour sand dune safari trip. In total, we spent 3 days in Isfahan, and the next site to visit is Shiraz Palace, which literally means 40 columns. The palace was built as Persian pavilion for entertaining and receptions. Shah Abbas and his successors would receive dignitaries and ambassadors, either on the terrace or in one of the reception halls. The palace contains many frescoes and paintings on ceramic, which depicts the specific historical scenes and the battles, as well as aesthetic compositions. For visiting Zoroastrian fire temple, we hired a car with a guide from our hotel, who accompanied us to the top of the hill. It's an archaeological complex located 8 kilometers from the city center of Isfahan, and it's the third largest fire temple remained from Iranian ancient history, and dates back to Sassanid era, which is around the 3rd-6th century AC. The hill rises about 200 meters above surrounding plain. The ascent into the hill was not as easy as I expected. It's a steep slope formed by sharp slippery rocks, so get ready with proper hiking shoes if you would like to explore this site. The introduction to Armenian Quarter, I would like to start with a carpet shop, which is not a random choice. Throughout the centuries, Armenians were the good merchants and had a great knowledge of the silk trade. Originally, Jaffa was established in 1606 by edict of Shah Abbas I, where over 150,000 Armenians were forcibly moved from Old Jaffa, fleeing the Ottoman Empire persecution. Armenians have constructed many churches, schools, and cultural centers in order to promote and flourish their society. The Holy Saviour Cathedral, or the Church of the Saintly Sisters, is one of them, which is generally called Vank, meaning monastery in Armenian language. The interior of the cathedral features fine paintings inspired from both the Old and New Testament. The small museum in the courtyard exhibits an interesting collection of cathedral history, and it's a home to relics left of Armenian community of Isfahan. From Sassanid era until today, historical bridges of Isfahan have been built to facilitate an access between northern and southern parts of the city. Persepolis Bridge, or the Bridge of 33 Spans, is the largest of 11 historical bridges in Isfahan. The bridge was built in the early 17th century to service both the bridge and the dam. It is a popular recreational gathering place and is one of the most famous examples of Iran's Safavid architecture. We visited the ancient city of Pasargadae on the way from Isfahan to Shiraz. The total distance was 500 kilometers and we paid for the taxi $80, including 2-hour stop exploring Pasargadae. Pasargadae was the first dynastic capital of the Achaemenid Empire, also known as the First Persian Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great in the 6th century BCE. The highlight of the ancient city is the tomb of Cyrus the Great, also called by Iranians as the father of Persia, who founded the First Persian Empire 25 centuries ago. Based in Western Asia, it was the largest empire the world had ever seen at its time. From the Balkans and Egypt on the west to Central Asia and Indus Valley on the east. After the victory of Cyrus over Astyages, Cyrus founded Pasargadae on the site of the battle. The city served as the ceremonial capital of the early Achaemenid Empire and was never meant to house a large population.
Presenting the all-new Pond's Anti-Pigmentation Serum. Miracles happen.
The ancient city of Persepolis is located 60 kilometers from Shiraz. It was founded by Darius the Great in 518 BCE to replace the ceremonial capital from Pasargadae. The name Persepolis is derived from the Greek meaning the Persian city. The city's remote location kept it a secret from outside world, and it became the safest city in the Persian Empire for storing art, artifacts, archives, and keeping the royal treasury. Darius commissioned the construction of Persepolis in 515 BCE. The complex is raised high on a walled platform and consisted of 9 buildings and palaces, which served as the ceremonial capital of ancient Achaemenid Empire. The first 3 buildings were completed before his death, and the fourth one, the treasury, was started but completed by his son Xerxes, the designated successor by Darius. Xerxes was infamous for his womanizing, cruel tactics, and excessive spending. He insisted that his palace be double the size of his father's. The buildings were constructed with mud bricks and massive precision-cut stone blocks, assembled without mortar. The surfaces of the great limestone blocks were polished to a shiny marble-like appearance. In Iran, there are 6 Achaemenid royal tombs left, 4 of them located at Necropolis on Akshay-Rustam, and 2 at Persepolis above the treasury. It's a burial place of 2 Achaemenid kings, Artaxerxes II and Artaxerxes III. Necropolis is located 7 kilometers from Persepolis, where Darius the Great and his successors had the monumental tombs carved into a cliff. It is not possible to enter the tombs. Inside, there are several stone caskets, each of them were broken and looted over the centuries. As history has taught us, no empire lasts forever. In 330 BCE, Alexander the Great conquered the Achaemenid Persian Empire. After looting its treasures, carried them away with 5,000 camels, and burned Persepolis to the ground. Phenomenal Maharla Lake is located 30 kilometers from the ancient city of Shiraz, that turns this regular lake into a pink spectacle. The distinctive color comes from the high amount of red algae. The high proliferation of algae is due to the salty water of the lake. Iran is one of the most beautiful gardens in Iran. It translates as a paradise garden and listed as UNESCO World Heritage Site. The origins of the garden might go back to the 12th century during the Seljuk period. Over the years, different dynasties and Iranian tribes worked to improve Iram, that is today a part of Shiraz Botanical Garden. Iram Garden is created on a slope under 2 platforms with altitude difference of 10-15 meters and has various types of plants from all over the world. The tomb of Hafiz has two memorial structures erected in the memory of celebrated Persian poet Hafiz. He was born in Shiraz in 1315 and died there in 1319. The beloved figure of Iranian people who learned his verses by heart, Hafiz was prominent in his hometown and held the position as the court poet. Ali ibn Hamza Holy Shrine is a religious site and the most important place of pilgrimage in Shiraz, so wearing an Islamic veil is a must for women, supplied with one at the entrance. The shrine consists of the tomb of the nephew of Imam Riza, who was the 8th Shiite Imam and descendant of Prophet Muhammad. Dazzling Venetian mirror tiles adorn the bridge of the walls and dome ceiling, creating a mesmerizing play of light and reflections. The old city of Shiraz is a traffic-free area with narrow, winding streets, with old houses and traditional blank walls of adobe and bricks and tall fences. Vakil Bazaar is the main bazaar of Shiraz, located in the historical center of the city. It was originally established in the 11th century and has beautiful courtyards, caravansarais, bathhouses and old shops, which is the best place in Shiraz to buy Persian rugs, spices, copper handicrafts and antiques. For the places to eat, I would recommend Julep Cafe with two cooling seating areas inside and outside. It offers Iranian European style menu and good for both breakfast and lunch. Saadi was a Persian poet and prose writer of medieval period. He is recognized for the quality of his writings and for the depth of his social and moral thoughts. He is one of the greatest poets of classical literary tradition, earning him the nickname of the Master of Speech, and has been quoted in the Western traditions as well. His book Bustan has been ranked as one of the 100 greatest books of all time by The Guardian. The Quran Gate stands tall with a grand central archway flanked by two smaller entrances and a small room on the top in which is kept handwritten Quran. Travelers passing underneath the gate were believed to receive the blessings of the Holy Book as they begin their trip or journey from Shiraz. For the construction of Citadel, Karim Khan invited the best architects and artists of the time and bought the best materials from other cities and abroad. During the Zen dynasty, it was used by the king as the living quarter. During the Qajar period, it was used as the governor's seat. After the fall of Qajar dynasty, it was converted into a prison, and the paintings were plastered over. Hammam bathhouse is considered one of the first private bathhouses of this kind, and were only used by the royal family. Pars Museum is located right across Citadel, and it's a burial place of Karim Khan. The building of museum has a regular octagonal shape. It was used for holding official ceremonies, and it was a place where the royal guests were hosted during Zen dynasty. I would like to express the gratitude to all Iranian people I met on the way during my first trip to Iran, and do hope it's not the last one.
अब जीते मौका कैश प्राइजेस जीतने का और अपने दोस्त को एक स्पेशल गिफ्ट या कोक बॉटल देने का। बस क्यूआर कोड स्कैन करके ढक्कन पर दिया गया कोड व्हाट्सएप करें। सो अपने जिगर के साथ शेयर अ कोक नाउ।
Jordan is one of the most diverse countries I've ever visited. It's bordered Syria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia and Israel, but also has a small coastline along the Red Sea separated by the Gulf of Aqaba from Egypt. My mom and I stayed in Jordan for 11 days, traveling everywhere by car from north to the south, and visited Unkay, Sajlun Castle, Roman city Shiraz, Amman capital, Christian sites in Madaba, Mount Nebo and Bethany baptism sites, natural wonders of Dead Sea and Wadi Mujib Canyon, Kerak Castle, Dana Biosphere Natural Reserve, Shabak Castle, gorgeous Petra, Valley of the Moon, Wadi Rum and Aqaba. Our first day in Jordan was started with a day trip from Amman, visiting 3 significant sites on the northern part of the country. Qais is translated from Arabic as Mother of Qais, and famously known by the ruins of the Decapolis city of Gadara. It was well located on the trade route between Syria and Palestine, and it was ruled by the Romans as a part of the Decapolis League in around 63 BC. It became a popular holiday resort for Romans, and it was notable for attracting scholars, writers, and artists. The site of Qais sits at the crossroads between 3 countries. From the edge of the village you can see the Syrian Golan Heights, Israeli Lake Tiberias, and the northern Palestinian plains. Ajlun Castle is a 12th century Muslim fortress, strategically built on the 3 main passes into the Jordan Valley, under the rule of Sultan and the military leader Saladin. The castle protected the people from the Crusaders, who were camping on the other side of the Jordan Valley with several Bedouin camps. In the mid-13th century, it was partly destroyed by the Mongols, but then restored again. It has been in use until early 19th century, when the earthquake destroyed most of it. Shiraz is an impressive archaeological site located 45 kilometers from Amman, rising about 600 meters above sea level, and it's one of the largest and best preserved Greco-Roman cities, which earned the name Pompeii of the Middle East. Ancient Greek inscriptions support that the city was founded by Alexander the Great, who allegedly settled eight Macedonian soldiers on the 4th century BC, when he left Egypt and crossed Syria en route to Mesopotamia. With the Roman conquest of the area in 63 BC, General Pompey attached the city to the Decapolis, a league of 10 Hellenistic cities that enjoy considerable autonomy under Roman protection. In the 1st century AD, the city of Shiraz achieved a great prosperity. It was absorbed into the Roman province of Arabia, which included the city of Philadelphia, nowadays Amman, Petra and Bostra.
On the second day in Jordan, we explored Amman capital on foot. It's the largest city in the country, with population is about 5 million inhabitants, accounting a 40% Jordanian population. During the 2nd millennium BC, the city known as Rabat Amman was served as the capital of Eminate Kingdom centered at the Amman Citadel. Citadel archaeological site is located on the city's highest hill, watches over the old town like a primeval guardian. The 2 giant standing pillars are the remains of Roman Temple of Hercules. It was built during the reign of Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, the 2nd century AD. The only obvious remains are the parts of the podium and the columns, which are visible from around town. Umayyad Palace is the domed audience hall designed to impress visitors of the royal palace. The most intact of the buildings on the site is the hall shaped like a cross,
mirroring the Byzantine church over which it was built.
A courtyard to the north of the hall leads to a 10 meters wide colonnade street, lined with the numerous arches and columns, and flanked by the residential administrative buildings.
While walking down Citadel Hill, Amman Panorama Gallery has drawn our attention. It focuses on contemporary and modern art. The gallery boasts an impressive collection of paintings, sculptures, photography, and other works of visual art. Founded in 2008, Amman Panorama Gallery houses a collection of art enthusiasts from Jordan and surrounding countries. Roman Theatre is the famous landmark and a highlight in the Jordan capital. It dates back to the Roman period when the city was known as Philadelphia. The theatre itself is cut on the northern side of the hill to keep the sun off the spectators and has a seating capacity of 6,000. Near the stage there are two heritage museums, the Folklore Museum and Museum of Popular Traditions, to collect Judaic and Palestinian cultural heritage items, to protect and preserve this heritage and present it for future generations. East of the Rome Public Square Forum, flanked by colonnade, is the Odeon, the small Roman auditorium for musical performances and concerts. Markets in Amman are also known as souks, are bustling with energy, people, and caters to diverse needs, providing a vibrant network of narrow alleyways dating back to Ottoman era, and its unique blend of traditions and commerce. Souk al-Hodra is a market for the fresh products with some of the best vegetables and fruits in Amman, and it's a great place to pick up a quick snack or taste some local goodies. King Abdullah Mosque is the only mosque in Amman that openly welcomes non-Muslim visitors. Completed in 1989 as a memorial by the late King Hussein to his grandfather, this blue-domed landmark can house up to 7,000 worshippers, with a further 3,000 in the courtyard. The octagonal prayer hall is distinguished for not having pillars inside, with source of radiation placed in the middle in the form of the golden star. Near the entrance there is a small Islamic museum, including personal acquisitions and photos of late King Abdullah bin al-Hussein. My best recommendations for the restaurant in Amman. Sufra restaurant is housed in the lovely old villa in the beautiful lush garden. The family-style menu offers a selection of Bedouin dishes made with fermented goat yogurt, as well as lamb chicken dish cooked over an open flame. Cave of the Seven Sleepers is an archaeological and religious site about 10 kilometers from Amman. It is believed that this cave housed the Seven Sleepers, the group of young men who, according to Byzantine Christian and Islamic sources, fled religious persecution of Roman Emperor Trajan. Legend has it that this man hid in a cave around 250 AD, emerging miraculously 309 years later. In the early 6th century, a small church was built over the cave, which was later converted into a mosque. It is now highly regarded as a site of pilgrimage for Muslims, and is popular for its Friday sermons. While leaving Amman and heading to Dead Sea, visiting three significant Christian biblical places on the way. The first one is Madaba Church. A modest 19th century Greek Orthodox church houses a treasure of early Christianity. The 6th century Madaba map on the floor is the oldest map of the Holy Land and the most exact before modern cartography was developed. Carved in 560, they contain 2 million pieces and 157 captions in Greek, depicting ultimate bloods of the Middle from Egypt past time. According to the Testament, Madaba is a place where Moses was granted a view of the Promised Land. A serpentine cross sculpture was created as a symbol of the miracle of the presence of by Moses in the wilderness, and the cross upon which was crucified. The Presbyterian regions from Jerusalem, in the second half of the 1st century, to commemorate the life and death of the man, created as a prophet by all three religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. During the exactions, the basilica with chapels with original mosaics created on the walls of the floor in the year 530 AD. In the years, a new Moses Memorial Church was built by Isfahan, which provided protection from mosaics. The small museum on the border of Israel showcases a collection of artifacts and exhibits that tell the story of Bethany beyond the Jordan, which is reputed to be the original location of the baptism of Jesus the Baptist. The spring of John the Baptist, where Jesus Christ was baptized, is the most significant place of the Holy Land. In 2000, the place was sanctified with an open-air mass by Pope John Paul II. Greek Orthodox Church with its gilded domes boasts intricate frescoes and murals, all neatly decorated with colorful iconography, heavy dark-wood paneling, and sumptuous gold detailing. Jordan River runs along the border between Jordan and Israel, and here is the only place that civilians can currently touch the water in the entire Jordan. We're heading to Dead Sea, and I would like to recommend our accommodation at Mujib Chalet, conveniently located within walking distance from Wadi Mujib Canyon, that we're going to visit on the next morning. It's a small complex of 15 double rooms with breathtaking coastal views, which runs by Jordanian Royal Society for Conservation of Nature. The room cost is 90 dinars including breakfast. Due to the site's remote location, there is no shops or restaurants around. Mujib Chalet offers a dinner at its restaurant for 14 dinars per person extra. Mujib Biosphere Reserve is the lowest nature reserve in the world that enters the Dead Sea at 400 meters below sea level. Wadi Mujib Canyon counts 5 different wet and dry trails that open different periods of the year. The Sikh Trail is the one-way adventure while visiting the area known as the easiest one, and it's currently registered as the only trail accessible without a guide. The distance to cover is 2.5 kilometers and it takes 2-3 hours to complete. The price to enter is 23 dinars, which is about $33. The trail is marked as self-guided and it's great easy to moderate.
Shiraz Castle is an ancient fortress and is one of the most important castles in the region, and it has been a major stronghold for centuries.
It was first built during the Crusader era in 1142, and it was initially constructed as a small fortification to protect the area from Muslim forces. Over time it grew into a much larger castle with multiple towers and walls, designed to protect the city from attack. Its strategic position transformed it into a wealthy center of power not only for military purposes, but a steady collection of taxes from trade caravans heading to Jerusalem. In 1198, the fortress fell under Muslim rule when Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt and Syria, besieged the castle. The charming 15th century stone village of Dana dangles beneath the King's Highway and the precipice, perched on the edge of the expansive Dana Biosphere Reserve, the largest nature reserve in the country at around 320 square kilometers, almost the same as the size of Malta. We stayed at this house, my grandfather's house, with the friendly owner Walid, who greeted us with a cup of tea. Originally, we booked a twin room which was not available, so he gave us a second room for free. In the evening, Walid organized a massive dinner for us in the traditional style, with the delicious home-cooked dishes. After the breakfast with the beautiful views on the surrounding mountains, we went for a hike with a guide which was booked by the host with a cost of 50 dinars, and it took us 4 hours to complete. Together with a local guide, the son of host Walid accompanied us as well. Dana Reserve offers some of the best possibilities for hiking in Jordan. You can find many hiking trails, from short hikes for just a few hours, or longer ones ranging from a day to several days, to even 40 days on the 600 kilometers long Jordan Trail. The reserve starts near the village at an altitude around 1700 meters. It plunges downwards to a point around 50 meters below sea level. The nature reserve was established in 1989 to protect the unique biodiversity of the region and to promote sustainable development. We visited imposing Shava Castle on the way from Dana to Petra, which sits on a round hilltop site separated from the rest of plateau. The castle was built in the 14th century and was strategically born due to the fact its alternative divine passage from Egypt to Syria. The law, however, held castle to tax not only traders, but also those who went pilgrimages to Mecca and Medina. The city of Petra is wonderland of an civilization. It's a and some wonderful. We approved from the adjacent town of Warmusa, which is a accommodation and transport hub, and where we still tonight, Santa. A city that stretches over 60 square kilometers, and spent a full day exploring the ancient city. Lifted up the entrance, which is to the treasury. 7.5 kilometers walk from the entrance to reach the basin. Together, Miss Martin Watch, flanked by the stone pitch 80 meters high, this was the dramatic entrance to the ancient Abyaneh. The city of Petra was established as a trading post by the Nabateans, an Arab tribe in the region. The Nabateans lived in a trading and later settled on the path, and then in the Scrima treaties. This marks the history. Persepolis invaded Petra and ultimately the Nabateans surrender. The Roman animal territory and area continued to over 150 years until they destroyed its buildings. This expansion took over the region and for some 200 years. The people come in a traditional restaurant, Malam Recipe, located in from the main entrance. It's scheduled for dinner time. You have to indulge with a nice love, fresh meat offerings. The second day Petra was started from the back gate, located 9 kilometers from the town of Musa. Little Petra was established at the 5th century AD, but the Nabatean culture was at the peak of the region. It was the suburb of Petra, house visiting traders on the Silk Road, on their journeys towards faraway destinations such as Egypt, Syria, and Mesopotamia. Little Petra was abandoned after the fall of the Nabatean kingdom in the 2nd century AD, after it was used on by Bedouin nomads for centuries. One of the main benefits of taking the back door is that you can skip ascending 800 steps when visiting the mosque from the main entrance, as going down is originally much easier. Additionally, it's a one route, meaning you will not have to go through the same path twice. The trail follows a well-defined pathway and takes you through the rugged hills, lush canyons, and winding mountains with sweeping panoramas, some of the finest in Jordan. We've been approached many times offering a ride by the mule to the monastery. There are also donkeys, camels, and horses around the site, but we don't recommend using them as there are concerns about animal welfare. The monastery, or Deir, is a substantially larger structure than the treasury. It was built in the 1st century AD, served as an Nabatean royal tomb, and later used as a Christian monastery. From the monastery, you can take the 7-kilometer trail back to the entrance, which takes you down 800 steps, the ancient professional route by the Nabateans. As you wind through the canyon, you eventually reach the bottom and come out to Qasr al-Bint, the main religious temple of the Nabateans. The terminus gate marks the entrance to the sacred courtyard of Qasr al-Bint, separating the commercial area of the city from the sacred area of the temple. Built in the 2nd century AD, the gateway originally had huge wooden doors and side towers. The Great Temple is an imposing structure for worship and community gatherings that covers an area of 7,500 square meters. The complex includes a monumental staircase, a large courtyard, and various chambers and halls adorned with intricate architectural details. Stop is what almost exactly on Earth. It visit the center of the exit for 5G. Restarted live for 8 hours. The strange ship trophy needed the air incredible same nurture but accent till cut down the crew, struggle the human, if they will, later in with much to taste button, and if it was a run. Currently it's head saving, it's 100 of medical and houses in Rollage, they are capital people which to pick up. My own casting barges, Lily is the small one. The road speeds above the road, never miss a wing, making it totally services. Film of peddlers, and a symbol of male pride. Green is an import for the parents, in Kilmilton, who said to part of the community. The bridge is almost to place in water. The bridge is about inside the floor. It has a texture so that one of the things will be. One of the best monsters in the room is not the rock with the cup of lady and waiting for the day and sunset. As the sunset over, all the lights of the water room, they have a different view. Heading is best way to do the magic in the room. We stay at candles stand and then private bathroom heating. Then cross the panoramic closets around the desert. We put it there for dinner, which includes dinner and breakfast. The food salt then becomes a traditional song of vegetables. It had prepared with a cow at the ground hole, filled with lime and hot coals, cut with butter and cooking away for the whole day. In Cuba, we have 1.5 days, but unfortunately, a ceaseless rainy